Welcome back to Market on Close. Shares of Alphabet hit a new record today after Bank of America raised its price target on shares to $280, up from $252, also maintaining its buy rating ahead of the company's earnings, which are due out on October 29th. BofA also raised its revenue estimates for the upcoming quarter after checks pointed to third quarter ad spending ahead of expectations. Alphabet is up about 35% so far this year. Now it's time for Options Corner, of course, talking Alphabet, all things Google. Today, joining us, Rick Ducat, our lead market technician here on Schwab Network, to break everything down for us. As we take a look at Alphabet and look at it more broadly against the sector and some of its primary competitors, although it has its hands in so many places, that may be a tall order for you today.
Yeah, kind of a tough comparison. The communications sector is already pretty broad, and Alphabet, as you said, is in so many different areas here. Nevertheless, up about 56% during the past year. Communications sector only up about 28%. If you were to compare it to its peers in the Magnificent Seven here, it's second best. Tesla's the only one that's outperforming it, but Google making a really strong showing overall, just in general here. And we also saw some other analyst moves. Oppenheimer also raised its price target 300 from 270. They kept their buy rating. Guggenheim also last week 280 from 210, also keeping their buy rating once again. If we were to look at our price chart more closely, though, we can see that for a while here we were traveling in this rising wedge type shape. We had an upside breakout. Typically that would be viewed as more of a bearish pattern often, but in this case we did have our breakout to the upside. We established some lows near 225, then a double bottom near about 236. Now we are seeing that price is pushing above those old highs near 256, on pace for a high close.
Yeah, it's working towards getting that high close today, right now at 256.57 right now. As far as any sort of options activity that we've seen today, is volume a little heavier than normal? Shares trading up only about 1.25% right now, but, an impressive performance day for them.
Yeah, despite this good news from the analysts here, actually the sizzle is rather low, 0.8%. So 80% of the typical 5-day moving average for options volume here. When we do think about some of our other technical studies as well here, we can see that we have had a break to the upside in our RSI, moving beyond that red downward sloping trend line here. So momentum is starting to improve, but we are still seeing some bearish divergence here. So our old RSI peak is higher than our current peak here, even though price is on pace for a higher close so far. So not exactly what you'd want to see if you're bullish in this name here, but still that can change very quickly here. We have earnings coming up soon to be a catalyst. To the upside, 268.52, our +2 standard deviation channel. To the downside, our +1 channel lines up with our trend line near about 241. That could be one area to watch to the downside.
So with some potentially bearish signals here for Alphabet in their chart, what was the rating of calls to puts? What's open interest look like today?
62% calls out of 212,000 contracts changing hands today. So a pretty active name. Open interest quite high. We can see that it was in the millions. I think about 1.1 million on the call side for the total open interest for this particular symbol here. When we do look at our expected move, though, for November 21st, plus or minus about 10.7% here. The lower edge of our purple box there lines up with some of our supportive areas, our 63-day exponential moving average, and our lows that we had after our gap to the upside. Right now, though, there is one thing I wanted to point out, too. We have our upper edge near 283, but if you were to look at our weekly chart here, our 5-year weekly chart, our +2 standard deviation channel is right about where we are now. So we're kind of at this point where we're already stretched thin, heading into earnings after a very lengthy move to the upside. I'm not saying it can't keep going up. I'm just pointing out some things that I see.
All right. So any notable trades that you saw here today?
There were two, plus 1,400 January 16th, 260 strike calls at a 1730 debit, a $2.4 million debit. Not really sure if it's opening or closing, though, but it was still the biggest trade I saw here. Would be bullish if it was an opening trade. The other one, minus 500 January 21st, 2028, going out almost a couple years there. 260 put at a 45.10 credit, a $2.2 million credit. Neutral to bullish opening trade, but kind of curious, they sold them when they were already in the money. Not really typically what you'd see because there was immediate assignment risk, but still that was one that stood out.
All right, so to get that close, they are still on track for it, trading at $256.66. That all-time close is just about $255. So on track to have their highest close of all time today for Alphabet. Rick, we want to thank you so much, Rick Ducat, our lead market technician, for here on the Schwab Network.